All right, welcome everyone to this week's Autonomy Talk. This week is a great pleasure to have with us Professor Yue Wang, who is an assistant professor at the University of Southern California, and also is a faculty scientist at NVIDIA Research in the Autonomous Driving Group. So something about Yue. Yue received his bachelor from Zhejiang University, and then a master's from University of California, San Diego, and then a PhD from actually here at MIT. And during his career, he has spent time at NVIDIA Research, Google Research, and Salesforce Research. The lab he has is focusing on three major directions. One is neural scene representation for robotics. The second is real to simulation to real transfer for robotics. So this is a very big problem. And three is robotic manipulation. As you've seen from the bio, he has won a number of awards and fellowships, and his work is very, very well represented in several disciplines in robotics. And today we'll talk about bridge spatial intelligence and embodied intelligence with foundation models, which I found very exciting. He's been making contributions both with the USC and the NVIDIA hat to these fields. And I am very happy to host him today. So without further ado, Yue, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much for the introduction. And hello, everyone. I'm Yue. Today, I'm very happy to present our research on spatial intelligence and the embodied intelligence. So before we talk about the major topics, let's look at this video. So this is Devi and his sister Anna. So as you can see, they are learning to understand the world by perception and interacting with the physical world. So they have a unified representations of vision and action. So a long-standing goal in AI in the past few years is to really to design high-quality humanoid robot or general-purpose robot to have the same agility and intelligence with our human beings. So the goal is to really have a unified representations of vision and action of these robots so they can automatically explore and interacting with the physical world. However, visual representations, as you can imagine, are still not very well aligned with actions. So let's look at one very interesting example. So in the past few years, we have visual foundation models. And if you are familiar with visual foundation models, they are usually trained with large compute on large data. And the idea is you can learn a very general purpose visual representations from unlimited data. And these visual foundation models can generalize to different domains or different tasks. However, these visual representations are action agnostic, meaning that the training data doesn't encode any actionable knowledge in the in the data, and also we cannot extract those information from the learning process. And on the other hand, we have learned policy, which is on the action side. So one very successful example is diffusion policy, which was published by researchers from Columbia and Stanford last year. So diffusion policy is using diffusion model to learn a policy network for certain task. So it achieves a very high quality action prediction. However, it doesn't have generalization because it's trained on certain tasks. It doesn't have the same level of generalization capability with visual foundation models. So as a result, the loop between the intelligent agent and the environment is not completed. So meaning that we cannot put in we cannot put the agent in our environment and then let it explore the environment by itself. So to address the issue, my lab has been starting on both pillars. The first one is spatial intelligence, and the second one is embodied intelligence. My goal is to really bridge these two important directions with foundation models. So on the spatial intelligence side, which is closer to computer vision, we have been working on several topics, including improving 2D foundation models. And once we have these 2D foundation models, we want to use it for certain 3D or even 4D tasks, including geometric excavation and scene reconstruction and understanding.
You're doing the slam? Oh, yeah, that's charge.
Is that a question?
No, I think Nicolas had his audio on. Please mute yourself in the audience.
Oh, okay. Oh. Yeah, so let's continue. And on the embodied intelligence side, we have been doing decision making with foundation models and designing better robotic controller for general purpose robots. And of course, to really bridge spatial intelligence and embodied intelligence, we have to make sure the computer vision models understand the intuitive physics and can really align the physical world with the physical physics in simulator. So that's why we work on physical understanding and the real to sim to real transfer learning. So specifically today, I will talk about some recent works that are related to first to designing better 2D foundation models. And once we discuss that, I will talk about how to use them to solve geometric and semantic understanding problems. And then I will talk about our recent summation to actually how to make sure foundation models understand the intuitive physics from video. And then finally, I will jump to decision making, and I will talk about our recent work on zero-shot robotic manipulation with foundation models. So without further ado, let's look at the first one, how to design better 2D foundation models. So in the past few years, a very exciting topic is vision foundation models, vision transformer models. So with vision transformers, we can solve a broad range of tasks, including classification, object detection, semantic segmentation, depth estimation, point tracking, object discovery, and etc. So are we done with computer vision? So can VITs solve all the problems? The answer is definitely no. Otherwise, I won't come here to present this research. So a very exciting work in the past few years is the Denoising 2, so which is the self-supervised learned vision transformer model. And Denoising 2 learns the general purpose visual representations from large data, and it can help a great range of downstream applications. However, even with these very powerful vision transformer models, we still see a lot of artifacts in vision transformers. So taking Denoising as an example, so on the left is the input image or input video, and we use Denoising to extract semantic features. And once we have this semantic feature map, we project the feature map into a 3D dimensional space with PCA. As you can see in the project PCA space, we can look at the feature. Distribution. So as you can see, even with this powerful Denoising model, we still see grid-like patterns in the feature map. And we can, of course, use other ways to visualize the feature map. So we can do k-means clustering to convert the feature map into three-dimensional space, or we can look at the certain components after we do PCA. So no matter how we do the visualization, we saw some grid-like patterns, as you see from either noisy clusters or PCAs. We saw some grid-like artifacts that are appealing in certain area in the feature map. So this is quite annoying because if you want to use Denoising as a feature extractor for some correspondence estimation or geometric estimation problems, these grid-like patterns will certainly destroy the cross-view correspondence. And this is not only Denoising problem. So we look at different vision transformer-based models, including DATE, EVA02, CLIP, and Denoising register. So as you can see, although the grid-like patterns are different from different models, but the grid-like patterns always appear in the feature map. So this is not only Denoising problem. Of course, our goal is to eliminate these artifacts and improve the quality of feature representations. So to do that, we recently have a ECCV paper called DVT, Denoising Vision Transformers, that is led by my student Yue Wang and the visiting student Katie Luo from Cornell. So to really remove these artifacts, we need to understand where they come from. So we use Denoising to extract features from of different images. As you can see, although the image contents are different, the grid-like patterns, they tend to appear at the same location, at the same position in the image coordinate system. So that led to our hypothesis, which is these artifacts are due to an important layer in vision transformer, which is positional embedding. So if you are familiar with vision transformer, so vision transformer tries to basically convert an image into a set of tokens. And for each token, it's basically corresponding to a patch in the original image space. And of course, to incorporate the positional information of each patch. Otherwise, we lose all the spatial information. We use a layer called the positional embedding layer, which is as simple as the MLP encoded XY location for each patch. So that is the only information that is related to position. So we hypothesize the artifacts are due to the positional embedding because for other layers, they do not have any positional related information. So to confirm our hypothesis, we designed several experiments. So the first experiment is we input a zero tensor into the vision transform model. So this zero tensor, as you can imagine, is basically is an image with zeros everywhere. So it's a black image. And by doing so, we remove the image content and we only input the positional embedding into the vision transformer model. So here is the feature visualizations with this is the zero tensor input. As you can see, we still have these grid-like patterns and we do not have any image content information in the feature map. And we compare this feature map to the feature maps of regular image. For example, we have a cat image and we input this cat image into this Denoising model to get the corresponding feature map. So as you see, we observe some semantic information of this cat. However, the grid-like patterns are similar to the zero tensor case. So this somehow confirms our hypothesis. So this is due to the positional embedding layer. And we did similar experiments with different vision transformer-based model, including Ziva02, date, clip, and the Denoising register. So we observed the same issue with zero tensor and with a regular image. And to further confirm our hypothesis, we remove positional embeddings from the vision transformer. So on the left is the feature PCA when we add the position embedding, while on the right is the feature PCA result without using position embedding. As you can see, clearly the feature map is much cleaner than the features of VIT model with position embedding. And you may ask, why do we not just remove position embedding completely from the model? So this is because for certain downstream computer vision tasks, such as cross-view matching, we still need this spatial information introduced by positional embedding. If we completely remove the position embedding, also we can obtain very clean feature map. The performance of certain downstream tasks are pretty greatly decreased. So with these two ablation studies, we confirm our hypothesis that the problem is actually due to the position embedding. So to solve this issue, we propose a two-stage approach, which is called a DVT. So the first stage is the per image denoising step. We want to remove the noises of each single image feature map. And the second stage is the generalizable denoiser. So we want to design a model that can basically does one-shot feed-forward inference, so it can be real-time during inference. Our proposal is based on two important key insights. So the first one is feature consistency, and the second one is artifact consistency. And let me talk about what they are in details. So basically, for a given image, we can have different crops, and we call them different views, as shown in this figure. So for example, we can have a view 1 that is in blue, and we can have view 2 that is in red. So these two views are cropped from different area of an image, and of course, they have a certain green overlap region. And then so basically, feature consistency says, so the same part of the image should have similar semantic features or the same semantic features. So which means this green region in the feature map should be consistent no matter how they are obtained from the original image. So if the green region is from the view 1, we get the semantic features when we feed this view 1 into the vision transformers. And if the green region is from view 2, of course, the features are from the view 2 feature map. So no matter the green region is from view 1 or view 2, the features should be consistent. So that is basically the feature consistency, because at the end of the day, they belong to the same semantic region in the original image, and the neural network should be robust enough to extract the same invariant features. And of course, because we added different position embeddings, because we are in different locations of image or of different crops, so we have different final features. So on the right column, so these are the position embeddings we added into each patch. So as you can see, although the green regions, they are from the same part of the image, but they are in different parts of the crops. So they have different locations, coordinates in the different crops. So their position embeddings will be different from different views. So the final semantic features will be different. But the semantic part should be consistent. So this is basically the feature consistency. Well, artifact consistency or position embedding consistency says, so although these two views are different, right? But we add the same position embeddings when we feed them into the neural network. Because at the end of the day, the top left is always 0, 0, and the bottom right is always 5, 5 in the image or in the crop coordinate system. So the position embedding grid or features are the same basically when we add the position embedding into the vision transformer. So to put everything together, so on the left we have feature consistency, which says gray region should be the same, should be consistent, while artifact consistency says the purple region should be the same. So by doing so, we have a way of modeling the semantic features and the position embedding artifacts. So the next step is how to decouple these semantic features from the overall feature map. So to do so, we use a technique called neural field. So if you are familiar with the neural field, they are basically a neural representations of a field. So imagine if I give you a XY, you give me a semantic features. So that is a continuous representation of the semantic map, feature map. And we can actually represent this function with a MLP. And this MLP basically takes in a XY location and directly output the feature vector. So basically, we want to use neural field to represent the semantic features of an image. So let me give you an example of how we do this. So suppose we have an image and we can have different crops and we feed these two crops into a frozen VIT model to get the semantic features. So as we discussed in previous slides, so these semantic features contain these grid-like patterns. And on the other hand, we know the original image coordinates of these two crops. And we can basically fit the image coordinates into a neural field, into a multi-layer perceptron to get the semantic features. We want to use this neural field to basically store the semantic features. And of course, to really reconstruct the original features from VIT model, we need to add the positional information. And we represent the positional information with the positional embedding grid. So remember in previous slides, so these positional embeddings should be exactly the same across different crops. And combined with this clean features, we want to reconstruct the original feature map. And by doing this reconstruction task, we somehow decouple the clean features from the positional embedding grid, positional embedding information. By doing so, we basically push the clean features into this neural field representation while keeping the positional embedding information or noises into this positional embedding purple gray. So that is basically how we modeling the consistency with neural fields and how we decouple the clean features from the positional embedding noises with neural field. And we can do the same thing for each image feature from VIT model. And this is basically a per image denoising step. So with this simple step, we can denoise any noisy features as shown on the right. However, this is not quite efficient because for each image, we need to train a neural field representation. We need to train on a reconstruction task. So how can we speed up the process? So to do so, we introduce a second stage, generalizable feature denoiser. So basically, what this generalizable feature denoiser does is, so first of all, it's as simple as a single vision transformer layer. And what it does is, it takes in a noisy feature map and directly output a clean feature map. And we can train this generalizable feature denoiser on a large set of noisy and clean feature pairs. And these noisy and clean feature pairs are obtained from the first stage image denoising step. And by training the generalizable denoiser on a large data, so we can obtain, we can make sure it's generalizable to normal image case. So we can use it at the inference time for efficient computation. And that's how DVT works. And let's look at some results. So on the right is the input video, and in the middle is the original feature maps. As you see, they are quite noisy. And after the DVT, so the feature maps are greatly improved. And we have other visualizations. So for every example, as you see, all the feature maps are significantly improved. Of course, our ultimate goal is not to only obtain clean features. Our goal is to really improve the performance on downstream vision tasks. So we basically compare DVT denoise features against the baselines on a broad range of downstream tasks, including semantic segmentation, depth estimation, object detection, and object discovery. And for each of the downstream tasks, all the performance is improved. So the other important factor here is that we obtain this performance improvement for free. We do not use additional human labels. So this denoising step is completely done in a self-supervised manner, in a reconstruction manner. So we do not need to obtain new human labels for this task or for downstream tasks. So this is basically DVT, denoising vision transformers, or our answers to how to improve the visual representations of 2D foundation models. And after we talk about the 2D foundation models, let me jump to how to use these 2D foundation models to help 3D geometric and semantic understanding problems. So in the past few years, 3D reconstruction has been a central problem in computer vision and in robotics. Typically, what 3D reconstruction does is to basically extract structure from a set of impulse images. And a typical step is called structure from motion. So structure from motion takes in multi-view impulse images as input and directly estimate per image camera pose and the sparse point cloud. And with this per image camera pose and the sparse point cloud, we can further do 3D Gaussian splatting or any neural rendering approaches to get a dense scene representations. And with these dense 3D scene representations, we can enable many tasks, including autonomous navigation, robotic simulation, VR, AR, etc. So although this pipeline has been started for many years, so they still have very serious problems. So for example, the structure from motion pipeline, which is usually slow and unreliable. So this can take hours of training on modern GPU, and it's pretty fragile when training images are not sufficient, when we have a limited number of training images. So how can we address that with vision foundation models? Last year, a very important model called Duster was proposed by researchers from Europe. So basically, Duster is the end-to-end geometric foundation models for pose estimation for sparse point cloud prediction. So due to time limit, I won't go into details of Duster, but I want to give you an overview of how Duster works. So this is an architecture figure of Duster. So basically, we are given two input images as input, and we petrify these two images, and we convert them into a set of patches that are further encoded by VIT model. And with these encoded features, we can further leave this each patch into a point in 3D to obtain a 3D point map, and also a pixel or patch line confidence map. With this point map, we can estimate the camera pose and also get a sparse point cloud representation. And this Duster model is trained on a very large data set. And with this powerful deep learning tool, we can basically greatly improve the pose estimation and the point cloud estimation. So the question we want to answer is, can we integrate this into a full 3D reconstruction pipeline? And can we combine it with neural scene representations? The answer is definitely yes. So we recently have a paper called Instant Splat, Sparse View Pose-Free Gaussian Splatting in Seconds. So essentially, what we want to do is to replace this slow and unreliable structure from motion with fast and accurate Duster model. So we want to use Duster as a deep learning prior to solve this pose estimation and point cloud estimation problem. And also, the other add-on benefit is that Duster gives a very dense point cloud, which can even further improve the performance of downstream 3D scene representations. So our goal is really to initialize a 3D Gaussian splatting rendering with Duster given point clouds. So what we do is that we first input the sparse view pose-free images into Duster to get the globally aligned point cloud and also per image camera pose. Of course, the per image camera pose are not accurate or are not perfect at least. And we initialize the 3D Gaussian scene representations with this globally aligned point clouds and also the cost camera poses. Then we perform a 3D Gaussian scene optimization, and we jointly update the camera parameters and the Gaussian parameters, Gaussian attributes, And finally, we will get the globally optimized, globally aligned 3D Gaussians. So as a result, we can achieve much better performance as well as great speed up. So here is a comparison to a previous state-of-the-art method, NopeNerf. So as you can see, within just 9 seconds, our method can produce very pleasant results, multi-view consistent rendering result. While NopeNerf takes up to 32 minutes for convergence, and also the final results is not as accurate as ours. So basically, to summarize, Instant Splat can work on large-scale post-free unbounded scenes within just 10 seconds, and also the performance is greatly improved over previous state-of-the-art methods. And also we have some quantitative comparisons to previous methods. So we compare to all the previous methods in terms of training time and also the metrics. As you can see, for training time, the efficiency is greatly improved. So our method only takes seconds, while previous methods takes at least a couple of minutes. And then also in terms of the metrics we consider here, we also achieve state-of-the-art performance. So that means better initialization is all 3D GS needs, and also we can use cluster as the prior to give 3D GS a good initialization. So this is an Instant Splat. And now that we have discussed how to leverage foundation models for geometric understanding, so before we jump into robotics or decision making, let's look at whether and how foundation models understand physics, because physics is really the most important factor for foundation models to really help decision making in the physical world. To really understand whether foundation models understand physics, we recently have a submission called PhysBench, benchmarking and enhancing vision language models for physical world understanding. So the problem we want to answer in this paper is, do foundation models understand intuitive physics? So as we all know, vision language models are very good at common VQA problems. So we can give an image or video to a vision language model and ask it some certain questions. And usually it will give very accurate answers. However, for physics-related question, can foundation models do the same job? So we designed 4 categories of physical-related problems, including physical object property, physical object relations, and physical scene understanding, and physics-based dynamics. As you can see, for each category, there are some physics-based problems. For example, in the first one, we ask the model which object has greater elasticity. So from this video, our humans can make very accurate decision or prediction. So we want to understand whether vision language models can do the same prediction task for these physical-based problems.
Yue?
And yeah, go ahead.
There is a question in the chat, which I think it's quite interesting related to this, from Alice. For a multi-view, all images and videos need to be precisely time synchronized. How does your approach deal with noisy time synchronization? And by noisy, what's meant is videos might not be totally synchronized with each other, right?
So basically what we do in this question is we give a single video to the vision language model, and then we ask it a question, right? And we don't give 2 videos to the model. And specifically for this example, they are synchronized, or they are these 2 balls are put into the same video.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Alice, let us know if this answers your question or you have a follow-up one. Okay, apparently it's solved.
Yeah. Yeah, I can continue. And of course, to do the benchmark, we need to collect the data. So we first design a very complicated data collection pipeline. So we source data from web, from a simulation, from a real world. So we obtain a very large corpus of video clips. And for training, for evaluation, we obtain 10,000 video clips. And also we further extend the video corpus into 100,000 clips for training a model. And of course, for evaluation, we need high quality annotations. So to do so, we first use GPT-4 to annotate the dataset, to pre-classify those videos. And then we design a automatic QA generation pipeline with some templates using GPT-4. And by using this automatic QA template, we generate a bunch of questions and answers for these videos. And after we obtain the pseudo-labeled questions and answers, we hire a lot of human annotators to do verification and check of the evaluation split. And we also have human annotators to basically label the answers for the evaluation slate. And of course, for training, we don't do like extensive verification, but at least for evaluation, we use at least 3 human annotators for each video question. So that is how we collect the data. And we also intentionally try to make the distribution of questions balanced and diverse enough. So we have 4 meta categories as shown in previous slides. So we have this physical object property, physical object relations, physical scene understanding, and the physical basic dynamics. And for each meta category, we have some subcategories related to the theme in the meta category. And we intentionally make the category distribution as balanced as possible and as diverse as possible. And of course, for certain subcategories, because we can only source a limited amount of videos, limited amount of data, the amount of questions are of course limited. But we did our best to try to balance the distribution of the questions. And once we design the benchmark, we want to evaluate the performance of vision language models. So we test all the available vision language models, including 39 vision language models, and we benchmark their performance using our evaluation data. So as you can see, the different models show different performance. So in general, the closed source models are showing better performance than open source models, as we can imagine. And also, we provide the performance split of different models, and we want to understand whether vision language models understand physics, and most importantly, what kind of problems they are good at or they are not good at. So this is some general findings. And of course, we want to improve vision language models' physical understanding capability. To understand this, we need to first understand some where the errors come from, and also some certain. I also want to share some certain findings with our benchmark. So the first finding is that we test the same model with different model size, and we found that scaling doesn't help. So you cannot really simply scale up the model with more parameters. Otherwise, we can train a large model to solve the problem. So that's the first interesting finding. The second finding is that the major source of errors are actually the perceptual error and the lack of knowledge. And with these 2 findings, we can design a better model for this task. So what we do is we design a language model-driven agent called PhysAgent to solve this physical understanding problem. So because the major source of errors are lack of domain knowledge and the perceptual errors. So we want to solve these problems by combining the specialized vision models or perception models So what we do is we design a language-driven agent that can interact with the vision foundation models and interact with the knowledge memory. So let me give you an example. So when we are given a task or a question, for example, how does the light move in the video? So we first prompt the language agent to decide which vision foundation models we should use and what's their return, what's their result. And after we get this return from this tool library, from this vision tool library, so we can do some follow-up chain of thought reasoning. And of course, to solve this task, we need to incorporate some domain knowledge. So we incorporate such domain knowledge that the shadow moves in the opposite direction of the light source. And we incorporate this domain knowledge as a memory in the language model. So you can think of this as a retrieval augmented generation in large language model. And combined, we feed the information into the phase agent to perform complicated chain of thought reasoning to solve the task. And the phase agent will give a correct answer. So by using this agent-based approach, we can greatly improve the performance of either open source model or closed source model. And this is basically phase batch and phase agent. So our answer to whether and how visual language models understand intuitive physics from video. So finally, let's jump to decision-making with foundation models. And to that end, I will introduce our recent Coral oral paper, RAM, retrieval-based affordance transfer for generalizable zero-shot robotic manipulation. So our motivation is that we want to manipulate unseen objects in unseen environments with unseen embodiments. And of course, we don't want to learn manipulation from costly in-domain demonstrations. So what do I mean by in-domain demonstrations? Usually when we do a manipulation task, what we do is to collect a bunch of human demonstrations with the same robot arm. And then we can learn a diffusion policy in a supervised manner with these collected demonstrations. But of course, this is not scalable and not efficient because for every new task, we need to collect a certain amount of demonstrations. And we do not want to learn manipulations from these costly in-domain demonstrations. So instead, we want to acquire versatile manipulation capabilities from abundant out-of-domain data. So because we have unlimited demonstrations from the internet, of course, they are not perfect, but they contain certain manipulation knowledge or actionable knowledge. In terms of the out-of-domain data sources, we have a lot. So we have robotic data from either real world or simulation. We have hand-object interaction data, and we have internet scale videos, and we have AI-generated contents, and we even have cartoon or sketches. And all of this data contain very rich actionable knowledge, but of course, the problem is the data themselves are quite noisy and heterogeneous. So they are from different sources and the qualities are different and noisy. But fortunately, with vision foundation models, they show great capability in cross-domain instance category generalization. So let's use the dense correspondence as an example. So here, as you see on the left, what we do is for the airplane, we pick up a red point on its wheel. And we take the features from this with vision foundation models. And we look at the feature correspondence across different categories. So we saw from different categories, the high response areas are also from the wheels, although they are not necessarily airplanes. So for example, even we pick up the response map from a bus. So the highest response area is also on the wheel. So that means the vision foundation models show some cross-domain generalization capability. And our idea is to leverage such cross-domain generalization capability to enable the alignment between different data sources. And of course, to do that, we need a unified representation. So basically, we want to represent the actionable knowledge as simple as transferable affordance, that is where and how to act. So basically, where to act is just a single contact point, and how to act is a simple post-contact direction. So with these very simple representations, we can unify embodiment agnostic representations from different data sources. And then we can transfer the affordances from different data sources to our target domain for zero-shot manipulation, for leveraging such actionable knowledge. And of course, we need to overcome domain-specific problems and data scarcity. So let me give you an overview of our method. So our method starts with constructing a very large database of different demonstrations. So we get the demonstrations from different sources, and we construct this very simple actionable knowledge representation, which is affordance. So this affordance, again, is a 3D contact point and the post-contact direction as shown in the red arrows. So after we have this large database, and we are given a new task, for example, open the drawer in this case. And we first search in the database to get the most relevant demonstrations with a hierarchical retrieval procedure. And once we have this most relevant demonstrations, we use vision foundation models to set up the correspondence between the source image, source domain, and our target manipulation domain. And we transfer this affordance from a source domain to the target domain. And we transfer the affordance to the target domain. And of course, we need to leave it into the 3D space because at the end of the day, we are operating in the 3D space. And finally, we can use off-the-shelf action generation model to basically execute the affordance. So this is basically how our method works in a high level. And then in terms of the affordance memory, we construct this memory by using robotic data, HOI data, and customized data. And we build a semi-automatic pipeline for constructing such affordance memory, and we only need very minimal human intervention in the pipeline. And once we have this affordance memory, we have a hierarchical retrieval pipeline that includes 3 important steps, which are task retrieval, semantic retrieval, and geometry retrieval. So the task retrieval will gather all the relevant tasks from the database, followed by a semantic filtering step that remove all the irrelevant demonstrations. And finally, the geometry retrieval procedure will basically pick up the most relevant demonstrations, the most similar demonstrations, for example, with the same viewpoint with the target task. And once we have this, once we achieve the most relevant demonstrations, we need to transfer the affordance from the source domain to the target domain. So again, we use 2D vision foundation models to set up the dense correspondence between these 2 images, between these 2 domains, because vision foundation models are generalizable to different domains. And once we have the correspondence, we can directly transfer this 2D affordance from the source domain to the target domain. And we use a 3D affordance sampling approach to lift this 2D affordance to 3D. So this 3D affordance is a sampling, 3D affordance lifting is a sampling-based approach. We sample in the 3D space, and we pick up the 3D affordance with a minimal reproduction error to the 2D affordance, to the 2D post-contact direction. And once we have the affordance in 3D, we can directly execute the affordance using off-the-shelf grasp generator and motion planner. And that is how our method works, basically. And let's look at some results. So we compare our method to previous methods, including where to act, VRB, and robot ABC on a broad range of tasks. As you can see, our method achieves much better performance than previous methods, thanks to the visualization capability of vision transform model and our parameterization of 3D folders. And of course, our method enables a broad range of applications. And here we show some real robot demonstrations. So here is a zero-shot manipulation case. So on the top right is the retrieved demonstration. So the robot executes based on this retrieved demonstration. And we do not use any human demonstrations for this task. And here is another task, open the cabinet. So on the right, top right is the retrieved demonstration from the database. And we can also do pick and place task. And let's look at some downstream applications in addition to the real robot demonstration. So in addition to this zero-shot manipulation, we can actually, with a large affordance memory, we can actually train a policy network. We can distill all the actionable knowledge into an end-to-end policy network, such as diffusion policy. As you can see, by learning on this large memory, we can even obtain better performance than the zero-shot manipulation case, and also we achieve much better performance than previous state-of-the-art method, VRB. And this provides huge potential for automatic and scalable high-quality data collection for policy learning. So essentially, we can use this collected data to pre-train or train a policy network, and the data collection is for free. And also, we can enable one-shot visual imitation. We can provide a single demonstration for the robot for better controllability. And we can even learn manipulation from cartoon images or from, for example, Tom and Jerry. So here is an example of showing we, as humans, provide a one-shot demonstration, and then the robot will follow the demonstration to pick up the tissue paper. So if we change the demonstrations to pick up the tissue box, so as a result, the robot arm will pick up the tissue box. So this shows how our method can enable controllability in one-shot visual imitation. So we can even learn manipulation from Tom and Jerry. So we give the model a demonstration from Tom and Jerry, and the robot arm can even learn how to close the drawer from this cartoon video. And we can even integrate our method into a language model pipeline to enable long horizon complex tasks. And this is essentially retrieval augmented generation in robotics. And we can enable agent-based robotic workflow. So this will enable more flexible tasks with high complexity. So here is a demonstration of how our method can clear up the table. So this is not only a very simple pick and place task. So it requires the model to basically pick up the object and move the gripper and drop it into the correct trash bin. So basically, this is a run zero-shot robotic manipulation method with foundation models. So this is basically all of the content I want to discuss today. So to summarize, today I discussed how to design better 2D visual foundation models, and then we discussed how to use visual foundation models for geometric and semantic understanding tasks, and followed by the discussion of whether and how vision language models understand intuitive physics. And then finally, we discussed how to enable decision-making with foundation models. And with that, I want to thank you so much for listening. And here is my website and the email. If you have further questions, I'm happy to answer right after the talk, or you can also email me with questions. And I also want to thank funding agency and all my great collaborators for support our research. And I will stop here. And I don't know if we have time for questions, but I'm happy to answer.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Wang. And Joel has to leave early for another meeting, and he asked me to say sorry to you. And there's one question in the chat. Let me read this question. The question is, how do you leverage simulation and address the sim-to-real gap?
Yeah, so let me look at the question.
My question is for the third project, the physical benchmark, because you mentioned you have the data source from simulation, from real world, and
Yeah.
so I'm curious, how do you leverage simulation?
Yeah, so basically the third project is try to study the physical understanding capability. So we try to basically get data from diverse data sources. So including real world, website, internet, and simulation. So the idea here is not really to address the sim to real gap, but to basically provide a diverse source of questions or data for evaluation purpose.
Okay, then a follow-up is that how do you think the simulation and the web data would help us on that? Because it seems like the real world data would be the most important one. And how would this kind of multimodality data would help the performance or just give the diversity of the data set to improve the model?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So again, so the first part is to really evaluate the performance of available vision language models. So to address that, we need to get the data first. For certain questions, such as this one, so which object has a greater elasticity? So think about if you want to design this task in real world, you need to do some real physical experiments to capture the data. So this is pretty time consuming. But if you use a simulation, so this is quite straightforward. So we can design many tasks within just 1 minute or even 1 second. So that's why for certain questions, we need to use simulation, or we need to search in the internet the related or the relevant videos. So that's where the internet and the simulation come from. And of course, to really train the model, we need to address the sim to real gap. But again, so this is another scope of this is kind of beyond the scope of this project. We do want to provide in this project, we do want to provide a diverse set of questions for evaluation. And of course, for training, we have similar different data sources. Maybe as a follow-up step, we need to address this sim to real gap.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Another question that for your last project, I'm a bit curious about, because you mentioned the affordance, and in your example, like open and drawer, open and door, seems like you only care about just open and door or open and drawer. But for actual example, we care about how much we open the drawer or how much we open the door. So this kind of the continual thing, or just represent more complex affordance, seem like it's not addressed in this project. Is this true? And then if this is true, what's the future work to address it, because they're saying this is very important for the physical understanding.
Yeah, exactly. So so that's a limitation of this work. And basically, although this work the representation is quite powerful, but there are certain limitations. The first one is, like you said, we don't know how much we need to open the drawer or to move the gripper. So that's one limitation. The other thing is we can only deal with a straight post contact direction. So for complex motion like a spiral, so this representation cannot really operate or cannot really work for complex motion. So as a follow-up work, we are doing several improvements. So the first one is we want to support complex motion and also know how much we need to move. That's one thing. The other thing is, or maybe we can think about using a video generation model or a generative model in general to generate the motion, to generate complex motion. And those are some follow-up works we are currently doing right now.
Okay, so it's more like using some generation model to generate this complex motion, because I feel like for the complex, this kind of affordance, it's a bit hard to just generate by data source because it's so complex. It can be even for the same,
Yeah, there are two issues. The first is very hard to generate, and the second is hard to represent with this simple affordance representation. So again, so this is only a post-contact direction. It cannot really represent the complex motion like a spiral.
Okay. Thank you very much. Very interesting talk.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So are there any other questions?
Okay, great. If no question,
Okay,
maybe
Since we have already run out of time, so maybe we will stop here today. Okay, thank you so much, Professor Wang, for your talk. It's very interesting, very cool demos, and it's very insightful. Yeah, thank you so much.
For having me this very interesting seminar.
See you.
Okay, see you.